Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into something spooktacular, something ancient, something that brings us all together for a night of fun, costumes, and way too much candy. That's right, we're talking about Halloween. But have you ever stopped to wonder where all these traditions actually come from? We're going to peel back the layers of history and uncover the fascinating origins of Halloween. Get ready for a journey that's more ancient than you might think, stretching back thousands of years. So grab your favorite pumpkin spice latte, maybe a trick-or-treat candy, and let's unravel the mystery together. All right, let's kick things off with the very beginning, way before carving pumpkins or dressing up as superheroes became a thing. The roots of Halloween can be traced back over 2,000 years to the ancient Celtic festival known as Samhain, pronounced Samhain. Now, the Celts lived in the area we now know as Ireland, the United Kingdom, and northern France. For them, November 1st wasn't just another day. It marked the end of summer and the harvest, and the beginning of the dark, cold winter, a time of year that was often associated with death. They believed that on the night before the new year, October 31st, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred. It was a time when the spirits of the deceased were thought to return to Earth. This wasn't necessarily a scary thing, at least not entirely. The Celts believed these returning spirits could cause trouble, damage crops, or even possess the living. But they also thought that the presence of these otherworldly beings made it easier for their priests, the Druids, to make predictions about the future. And as we all know, for people dependent on the volatile natural world, these prophecies were a crucial source of comfort and guidance during the long, dark winter. So, to commemorate this event, the Druids would build huge sacred bonfires. People would gather to burn crops and animals as sacrifices to the Celtic deities. They would also light their hearth fires from these sacred bonfires, hoping to keep their homes safe and warm through the winter. And to ward off those mischievous spirits, they'd often wear costumes disguising themselves so the spirits wouldn't recognize them. Sound familiar yet? Now fast forward a few centuries, and the Roman Empire had conquered most of Celtic territory by 43 AD. For about 400 years, they intertwined their own traditions with the Celtic ones. The Romans had two specific festivals that merged with Samhain. The first was Feralia, a day in late October when Romans commemorated the passing of the dead. The second was a day to honor Pomona, the Roman goddess of fruit and trees symbolized by the apple. This connection to apples is often cited as the origin of bobbing for apples, a classic Halloween game. So you can see how different cultural threads started to weave together, adding new layers to the celebration. Then came the rise of Christianity. By the 7th century, Pope Boniface IV designated May 13th as All Saints' Day, or All Hallows' Day, a time to honor all saints and martyrs. But by the 9th century, Pope Gregory III moved All Saints' Day to November 1st. Many historians believe this was a deliberate attempt by the Church to Christianize the existing pagan festival of Samhain. All Saints' Day was meant to be a day of prayer and remembrance for the holy departed. The evening before October 31st began to be known as All Hallows' Eve, and eventually just Halloween. This shift didn't erase the old traditions, it simply absorbed them. On All Hallows' Eve, many of the Samhain customs continued, but with a Christian twist. Instead of warding off pagan spirits, people might pray for the souls in purgatory. Remember those costumes? They morphed into disguises to represent saints, angels, or even devils in medieval plays, often called soul plays. During these plays and parades, poor citizens would go door to door, asking for food in exchange for prayers for the dead. This practice, known as souling, is often considered a precursor to modern trick-or-treating. Instead of candy, they'd often receive soul cakes, small round cakes that were thought to represent a soul. So, how did Halloween make its way across the Atlantic? When Europeans, particularly Irish and Scottish immigrants, began arriving in America in larger numbers in the 19th century, they brought their varied Halloween traditions with them. Early celebrations in colonial America were pretty scarce due to the strict Protestant beliefs of the time. But as different European ethnic groups and Native Americans intermingled, a distinctly American version of Halloween began to emerge. The first Halloween celebrations in America were often called play parties. which were public events held to celebrate the harvest. Neighbors would share stories of the dead, tell fortunes, sing and dance. The mid-19th century saw a massive influx of Irish immigrants fleeing the Great Potato Famine. They brought their Halloween traditions with them, which included the ancient Celtic practices blended with the Christian observances. It was these immigrants who really popularized Halloween in America. Trick-or-treating, for instance, became more widespread. It wasn't just about souling anymore. Kids started going door to door dressed up, asking for treats, or sometimes playing small pranks. The idea of wearing elaborate costumes and masks also really took off during this period. By the turn of the 20th century, Halloween had become a community-centered holiday, focusing on parties for children and adults. Communities worked to strip the holiday of its more frightening and superstitious elements, transforming it into a day about community gatherings, seasonal feasts, and festive costumes. Parents were encouraged to remove anything grotesque or frightening from the celebrations to make it more family-friendly. Newspaper articles from the early 1900s actually started advocating for Halloween to be a wholesome, neighborly event, steering away from the more destructive pranks that sometimes occurred. And then came the commercialization. By the 1920s and 30s, Halloween became less about spooky superstitions and more about costumes, parades, and parties. The first commercially produced Halloween costumes started appearing in stores. Trick-or-treating as we know it really took off in the 1950s, thanks in part to post-World War II suburbanization and the baby boom. The availability of individually wrapped candies made it a convenient and safe activity for children. And who can forget the iconic pumpkin carving? While originally turnips or potatoes were used in Ireland to ward off evil spirits, when immigrants arrived in America, they found pumpkins were much easier to carve into jack-o'-lanterns, a nod to an old Irish folk tale about a man named Stingy Jack. So from ancient Celtic rituals to Roman festivals, Christian observances, and eventually American community celebrations and commercialization, Halloween has evolved into the vibrant, diverse holiday we celebrate today. It's a beautiful tapestry, woven from thousands of years of tradition, reflecting humanity's enduring fascination with the changing seasons, the unknown, and the power of community. It is truly incredible to think about how a festival meant to mark the end of harvest and ward off spirits has transformed into a global phenomenon of fun, creativity, and shared joy. Every time you see a carved pumpkin, a trick-or-treater, or a festive decoration, remember the rich, layered history behind it all. Thank you so much for joining me on this historical journey. If you enjoyed learning about the deep origins of Halloween, please give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating dives into history and culture, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. We love hearing from you, so leave a comment below and tell us what your favorite Halloween tradition is, or what you found most surprising about its history. See you next time.